Happy Victory Tuesday, Bengals fans. Stone Shields on hand for another edition of Bengals Breakdown here on Tuesday morning. Fresh off the Bengals victory last night in Dallas on Monday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys. And coming up on today's show, we're going to be talking about the great news that the Bengals got after the game. Or is it really great news? We will dive into that here on today's show. Going to be spending time talking about Joe Burrow and, of course, one Tee Higgins as well. I will have my thoughts and opinions on that as we progress through today's show. So stick around for that. But before we get into it, I want to remind you guys to hit that thumbs up icon if you have not done so already. We are in a December-like battle with our Ravens channel here at Chat Sports. And, of course, this is the last month of 2024. And since we've done these like battles, we are 2-2 these past 4 months. So this is a winner-take-all month here in December. I have a slight lead right now, but really need to pop off here on this video. Going for at least 350, 400 likes. That would be awesome on today's show. So help me out. Hit that thumbs up icon if you haven't done so already. All right, let's start with what definitely is good news. Joe Burrow got beat up again last night against the Dallas Cowboys. And at one point late in the game, it's hit by Micah Parsons, I believe it was, goes down to the ground. It was the play in which he clearly got his face mask grabbed, and that wasn't called on the field. Burrow hurt his knee, and then you saw him on the sideline after that, kind of putting a sleeve on his knee with some padded protection on there as well. He was wincing and did have a noticeable limp after the game as well. But luckily, when he came back into the game, first play, had to maneuver around the pocket, step up, and find Chase along the sideline, and he looked like the typical Joe Burrow we had seen all evening long. But we'll see if this is something that lingers for Burrow as this season progresses. 4 more games to go for Cincinnati, and I would expect Joe Burrow to start all 4 of those games, barring something significant happening in some respect. But here's what Burrow said after the game. Again, this is some good news here. I definitely personally was a little bit concerned when I saw him go down, but obviously with Burrow, you always find yourself kind of holding your breath. This is what Burrow said. He said, "It's nothing crazy. I just landed on it a couple of times, probably just a bursa or something. We'll see. It'll be sore for a while, but I'll be all right. I was good, just a little swollen." He also went on to say that pretty much everybody in the league would have played through what he was dealing with that knee injury. Obviously, you're holding your breath with Burrow for several different reasons. One, he's one of the best players in the National Football League, if not the best player in the National Football League. And, of course, he has an injury history behind him. Of course, in 2020, his rookie year, completely tore up his knee. In the Super Bowl in 22, sprained that MCL, had the appendectomy in 22 as well that cost him all of training camp that season. Then the calf strain in 23, missed training camp then as well. And, of course, the wrist tear last season that caused him to miss the last chunk of the year, which obviously was significant as the Bengals really didn't have any chance of getting to the playoffs without Joe Burrow. So there definitely is concern with him. Again, we will see how things progress here over the next 4 weeks if he has a limp still by the time the Bengals play on Sunday. Short week, of course, after playing on Monday Night Football. I personally am concerned. I'm always holding my breath with Joe Burrow out there at the quarterback position, especially when the year feels like it's essentially over as far as playoff hopes go, and he's still taking massive shots out there on the football field and getting hit after he releases the ball as well. So we'll see how he looks on Sunday. But for now, it is good news that it is nothing significant with Joe Burrow's knee. He said he is just fine. Leads us to the pinned comment of today's video. What's your concern level with Burrow's knee injury? Do you think he was being overly optimistic? Do you think it's something that is going to linger? Let me know in the comment section. Scale your concern level 1 to 10. If that ad comes here on YouTube, totally fine. Take advantage of it. Get down in the comment section and let us know what you think. All right, arguably the most noteworthy thing about last night had nothing to do with the game itself. It was some comments that Joe Burrow made after the game in regards to Tee Higgins and his potential future with the Cincinnati Bengals. Of course, going into the season, once the Bengals tagged Tee Higgins, I pretty much came on here and said there's no way he will be back for 2025. And Joe Burrow had some thoughts that were a little bit different than that after the game. Here is what Burrow said in his press conference. He said, "We don't know, but those discussions are ongoing, and I'm confident that I think we're going to be able to do what it takes to bring T back. I know that I'm going to do what it takes to get him back, and so is he. we've had those talks. Those are going to be off-season discussions, but we're excited about that opportunity. Interesting. And this is what Joe Burrow said at his season-ending press conference last year. Similar thoughts here from Burrow. He said, I expect T to be back. I think that's the sentiment in the locker room. We all want T back. We know what kind of player he is. We know what kind of person he is. He's what being a Bengal is all about. So like you said, we'll see, but I think we should have a good opportunity. Again, those comments coming at the heels of last season before this 2024 year. I will have my thoughts and opinions on this in a moment. But first, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Game Time because today's show is presented by Game Time. Look, Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time Picks is the easiest way to find and buy tickets to live events. Still 2 opportunities to see the Cincinnati Bengals live in action at Paycor Stadium. Head on over to Game Time and get the best deals possible. My 2 favorite features on Game Time, the seat views. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy with Game Time. Secondly, the all-in pricing. Toggling this feature up front allows you to see your total up front so you don't get hit with any of those surprise fees at checkout like some of those other ticketing companies can get you with. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create an account, green code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Look, I'm still not buying this when it comes to Tee Higgins coming back here in 2025. Several reasons why I'm in that position. One, resources need to be allocated to your defense, right? And when you're paying Joe Burrow, and you certainly have to pay Jamar Chase, there's absolutely no doubt about that. And if you're picking, it's very clear. Look, I like Tee Higgins too, but it's very clear that if you're only picking one, you got to pick Jamar Chase here as well. And that is just so much money dictated in terms of the offensive side of the football. And really, when you look at this Bengals football team, they need to make some splashy moves in free agency defensively. They bring in Higgins, Chase, and the Burrow contract. Now, in that quote, Burrow said he's going to be willing to do what it takes to keep him. So maybe we will see a massive restructure from Joe Burrow. Potentially, that could be something that is in the cards. But for now, I really just am not buying this. And also, how bad does Tee Higgins want to stay? When you've heard him talk in the offseason, it seems like he's pretty content with this being his last year in Cincinnati, and then he wants to go and get his money elsewhere. And obviously with Tee Higgins, there's always a concern with injuries. Had some issues staying out on the field. Certainly more issues than Jamar Chase in that regard. You always can count on Jamar Chase to be out there on the football field. And I'm not going after Tee Higgins at all with that comment. It's just kind of the facts. Look, I think Tee Higgins is a tough son of a gun, and he's going to go out there and battle through whatever he has to in order to make things happen out there on the football field. But unfortunately, he has missed a decent amount of time in his time with the Cincinnati Bengals. So I think there are certainly lots of obstacles Cincinnati has to jump through in order to make this happen if they are going to bring Tee Higgins back in 2025. I think now, unfortunately, look, when Joe Burrow talks, I listen, and we all as Bengals fans should listen. But there's kind of a history now of him saying some things that don't exactly come to fruition. I think this could potentially be another thing that kind of falls into that category when it comes to Tee Higgins and his future with the Cincinnati Bengals, because I just feel like that is just asking a little bit too much to have a guy like Tee Higgins come back, especially with kind of the history of the organization and the things that they have done in the past. And, just spending that kind of money, all that money on offense is a ton of money. And Tee Higgins deserves to be paid at the top of the wide receiver market. And I just don't know if it is feasible for Cincinnati to do that, given what they have to give to Jamar Chase and, of course, what they are giving to Joe Burrow. So we're going to talk about this all off season long in regards to Tee Higgins and staying in Cincinnati. But for now, my thought process has not changed, and I would be shocked if Higgins is back in 2025. Another opportunity for you guys to get interactive with our show here at Bengals Breakdown. After these comments, have your thoughts changed on this? Joe Burrow has spoken. He seems to think that Higgins will be coming back. Let me know what you think. Will Tee Higgins return in 2025? Type Y for yes or N for no in the comments right now. All right, before we get out of here, I want to spend some time talking about Jamar Chase and his pursuit of the Triple Crown. What he is doing this year is absolutely phenomenal, and it continued again last night. So what is the Triple Crown? Leader in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. And right now, Jamar Chase is 100% on pace in terms of making that happen. I think this right here, this category, the receptions category, is the one that is in jeopardy the most. This one is going to be the most difficult to attain. But luckily for him, last night he got a ton of catches in that football game. Brock Bowers, of course, is a tight end, but I believe it's just about receptions. Again, don't quote me on that. I still think he is in the running for someone that could knock off Jamar Chase, despite the fact he is at that tight end position. Jamar Chase closing in on 100 receptions. As you can see, CeeDee Lamb up there with 85, and he's missed some games this year, so that is really impressive. There's some other guys there in the low 80s, high 70s as well that could make a run at Jamar Chase if he has a couple of games down the stretch where he's not catching a ton of balls. As far as the yards go, yeah, I mean, maybe Justin Jefferson can catch him, but has over a 200-yard lead there on his former LSU teammate. I think this one you can pretty much put a bow on it, wrap it up. He's going to have the most yards at the end of the year. 1,300 yards with 4 games to go is absolutely ridiculous, and Jamar Chase just continues to impress game after game after game. And this one right here, also, I think you are just running away with it here at this point, unless you just go on a hiatus where you don't get in the end zone the rest of the season, but has a 6-touchdown lead on the next closest guys, Terry McLaurin and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and that's just unbelievable. You know, defenses are putting everything they can at Jamar Chase. You do have to worry about Tee Higgins as well, and the fact that he can still put up this production is absolutely unbelievable. If Jamar Chase was able to win the Triple Crown, I think that would be kind of a highlight in your season, and you sit there and go, wow, that is a pretty remarkable feat, because it really is just something that doesn't come around too often. Hopefully Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor, and the offense can make that happen. Will he do it? Let me know in the comments section. Will Jamar Chase win the Triple Crown? Again, at this point, the receptions really is the only thing that I'm particularly concerned about, and we'll see if he is able to get it done. Again, that would be an unbelievable feat, and it would just go to show just how brilliant Jamar Chase is with Joe Burrow as well at that quarterback position. But let me know if you think he will win the Triple Crown. Type A for yes or B for no.